Hey, everybody, welcome to this week's Working Through It Wednesday. Offered by the Behavioral Alliance of South Carolina. We're really excited this week to have Derrick Bastian with us. Derrick Bastian is a master fitness trainer for the U.S. Army, ISSA CPT. Moreover, Derrick is a dear friend of mine. We have been friends for the past 20 years. He's an incredible human in every way. He is an OIF combat veteran and just a genuine, wonderful human. So, on behalf of the Behavioral Alliance of South Carolina and our Southeastern School Behavioral Health community, want to say, hey, D, how you doing?
Hey T, thanks for
Absolutely. So I know you really well, but our community doesn't know you super well. So I was hoping that you could tell us just a little bit about your background and your current job.
yeah. I grew up right here in the southeast of Columbia in Hopkins, South Carolina. Uh, Joined the service about a year after um, high school. Went to Lordsham High School. Uh, was a kind of an overweight kid. Physical activity was it was there, but maybe not in the level it needed to be. But anyhow, joined the service. One thing led to another. The U.S. Army decided that they wanted me to teach other people how to be fit in other troops. And that was kind of where I got my start in it back in 2010 after we got back from a deployment to Iraq. And then, yeah, it just kind of made sense. I loved fitness and got out of the service in 2012, December 25th. Went back to school at good old Midlands Tech right here again in Columbia, South Carolina for nursing and completed health science programs and began as the first trainer that Dynamic Health and Fitness had and worked my way through. And um, now I serve as the area director for them and fitness and exercise and keeping people physically and mentally well day in and day out.
Well, I know that you are phenomenal at your job, and I'm really excited and grateful for you to be able to share your expertise today. And I'm sure that Richland One is very excited that they have a phenomenal graduate such as yourself. Definitely, we're grateful to have you here in the great state of South Carolina with us. So, jumping into what we wanted to discuss today, why is physical fitness important to overall mental health?
There's a question that it's easy for me to just look at you and say, well, duh, of course, Taylor, like you have to exercise, right? But then you start asking why. Um, there's thousands and thousands of studies and research articles out there, American Psychological Associations, international sports medicine journals. The studies have been done, but the best way that I can tell someone that is, to a teacher or to a state legislation office worker or, yourself, your own office, and someone says, why is it so important? I would tell them, make a mental note of how you feel at 12 o'clock during the day. You've been staring at your computer all day and running reports. And I think in the office, what do they call them? TSPs. I want those TSPs on my desk. Or you're a kid and you're sitting in school and you're sitting in class and you're like, hey, it's about time to go. I want you to go on a 30-minute walk. I want you to make a mental note subjectively how you feel before you go on that walk. And I want you to make a mental note on how you feel at 30 minutes later after that walk. And that'll be your answer.
So I love the idea of we can do something as simple as walking and it's going to improve our overall mood. And that's something that literally any of us can do. And speaking about the students that are sitting in their classroom and they're getting antsy and our kids now that are, virtual and they're like us, right? They're staring at a computer all day long. We've got to get up and just do those simple things that you can embed into your day and increase our overall mental wellness. So if we know that physical fitness is so important towards holistic wellness, then why is physical fitness in schools an important piece of the educational puzzle?
So we ask our our younger humans. We ask them to go to this school and to learn, and we put these things that we've made as computers and technology. And we put this in front of them, and we tell them, we need you to sit right here, and we need you to watch the screen. We need you to learn this. We need you to listen to this teacher, and we make their day 90% sitting or in a desk or in a classroom. And then we expect you guys, if you kids are out there watching this, we expect you not to quote unquote misbehave or want to go crazy. Um, I think that's backwards. I think that if, I started a program a while back that was called Ready, Set, Go. And when I think about it from like the aspect that you and I are talking about it, just from the younger guys and gals out there and the teachers, you know, I I think about every single hour on the hour. If you were to start a program for 10 minutes that told kids ready, set, go, and you let you guys go out there and gals go out there and play and just run around and sprint around and chase each other and see who's faster and play on the monkey bars real quick, and you got that 10 minutes every single hour. I wish that we could run a study for like 1 week at school of doing it and then not doing it. And let's ask all the teachers and parents and students what results they got from that. Be night and day of how well those kids and students responded. It's not, it's, one of the reasons why adults, we're adults now, right? Most of the time, right? But one of the things that we stopped doing, we stopped playing. We don't play anymore. We don't go run around and jump around and act like normal humans. For whichever model or ideology that you follow, let's just say that humans have been around for thousands of years. It's literally only been for maybe a couple hundred that we've implemented this let's sit at desks and learn and teach and do jobs to provide financial aspects of life. If you go back 250 years ago, there was nothing called ADHD. Kids played all the time. People worked in their, mostly it was laborious jobs, but at the same time, the human body was just made to move. At the end of the day, it was made to move. And when we try to make it do things other than that, we're gonna have fallout from that, or we're gonna have aspects where you're not gaining ground in a positive manner. Um, we have to move, and we have to let these kids move. We have to let these kids move a lot. I heard one time from a parent that as a punishment, the kids get recess taken away. You want to compound your problem? Take recess away.
I I love that feedback, Dee, because the reality is we want to make sure we're doing positive things, and we're adding things that are going to promote positive behavior, and letting kids be kids and letting adults be kids for a little bit too, right? Like I love the notion of acknowledging that we all have this absolutely instinctual need to just be up and moving around, and it's kind of counterintuitive to say just sit down, be still all day long, because then where's that tension in your body going to go? Probably to your attitude, right? Probably to the way that you're behaving towards your friends, towards your peers, towards your administrators, or maybe towards your colleagues. So I think that's super valuable to say, what can we do every 10 minutes? How can we embed uh, the opportunity to just be a little bit more free and leverage the need to be able to move, acknowledging that it's going to help us out in the classroom or in our day-to-day lives.
One of the things too, just like I challenge like the school system, and when you're talking about tier one level support, or just like putting in these types of programs with students and kids, I challenge any office worker right now, or any boss, or any supervisor, or whatever you want to call it. Let's say you have a team that you work with. I challenge someone. Have you ever heard someone say, these we just don't accomplish anything in these meetings, or everyone has meetings after meetings after meetings. One of the things that I started doing with some of the instructors and individuals at Dynamic was, if they wanted to meet or I needed to meet with them, I would make us both get on a treadmill and walk. And we would have that meeting while we're walking and talking. So I challenge, I'd say one action step for an office to try, and I mean, this goes deep into not only just leadership, but teamwork, motivation, aspirations to do better. Have your team, and I know it's hot. I know it's South Carolina. But have your team go, and you want to brainstorm ideas. Hey, team, I want to brainstorm. Hey, we're going to brainstorm today while we're walking around the building for 20 minutes. You work at, PIBA, you work at SCANA, you work at any of these large organizations. Have your team go outside and walk and brainstorm, and have someone record it if you want, so that they can actually take the notes when you get back. But talk to me about the difference of your meeting as to how it went while you were inside around the round table, sitting there when no one wanted to be there anyways. Listen, it's normal human. It's normal as a human. We don't want to just be stuck inside and sitting at this table, listening to each other talk about these reports and this data analysis and what. Get up and go walk. Take your team outside, and let's see how that meeting goes. Even if you want to do a little small questionnaire to them about what the team thought about it afterwards, but try it, see what happens, see the type of progress you make whenever you walk and talk, see what that does to your brain. It's pretty powerful.
Well, I love, all of our schools here in the state of South Carolina, have various teams to support our kiddos, and we are sitting down a great deal, and we're doing an incredible amount of work. And so to just be able to switch it up and to know that that's going to help us to do better by our kids, that's phenomenal. It's phenomenal to think, when you prioritize your self-care, when you prioritize your team's self-care, your staff or your class's self-care, that you're really helping to meet your objectives and better meet your goals, right? And that's what I hear in what you're saying. And I know we've talked a lot about being able to get up and walk, and sometimes we are relegated to the classroom, sometimes we're relegated to a meeting space, or right now in the current context, computer. So if I'm an educator, if I am an administrator, what is something that you might recommend that would be, I want to start I want to be able to start implementing some of these supports in my classroom, at tier one, as you suggested, for the whole school, for the whole child. What are some other things that we might be able to do, or some strategies that we could employ, other than being able to get up and move? So what can we do when we've got kiddos in the seats, or when we're stuck in a classroom or stuck in a meeting space?
So I think that the answer to that is kind of multi-layered, Taylor. I think that, again, I go back to the fact that you have all this research and data out there that shows the direct link between physical fitness or activity in general, as opposed to mental health and well-being, and then, discipline to sit through that next 50 minutes or whatever. So I think that the first aspect of that has to be that, like, the school system actually acknowledges that. I think that's first and foremost, not just a, the school board director saying, yes, I think that physical activity needs to be implemented by our teachers. Okay, well, then we turn around and we stick them in that classroom, like you're saying, and now we're in that setting where all the kids are there, all of the teachers are there. It could simply be to start out with saying that every hour, 10 minutes of that hour, is given to every single individual to do exactly what they want to do, right? Now, and the reason why I don't stick fitness to that setting just yet is because it's going to be really hard to, have a teacher say, all right, everybody stand up, we're going to do jumping jacks and air squats and right, that kind of thing, right? It might not be practical, and I understand that. So that's why I say you give those individuals that 10 minutes every hour on the hour. You want to talk about having a very focused hour of time, give 10 minutes of that time to that individual and take that other 50 and do what you want to do with it. Now, the second layer to that, like if we're really going to take this serious, so when I think about it in a sense of, okay, who are the types of individuals that I want to teach, train, mentor, and educate my child? I want it to be someone that's at the top of their game, not just, occasionally, but to be able to be at the top of their game every single day and to be motivated and to even have the fortitude or mental strength to lead that classroom every single day. And so when it comes to that aspect, that's when you start talking about major changes, like implementing a health and wellness coach in your PT or your physical fitness program, and that offers a yoga or Pilates class every single morning at school, or that there's a trainer on site at the local school, fitness facility. I mean, I know that these are things that also come with a financial backing, and these things are probably very far out, being able to say, hey, every school has a small gym or health center for their school. But since they don't have that, that's where a school should be trying to probably push or have an incentive or even pay for those teachers to have a place that they can do it outside the school, whether it's a health facility, your local Y, your wherever, but actual boots on ground, like that's what it's going to take, is schools and local and state government levels really taking this serious, because the the mental wellness and the physical link, just by all of us saying it or understanding it, I don't think there's one person out there that will tell you or I that they don't think physical fitness activity, and I don't mean like, having to go do CrossFit or go run 100 miles, but just physical activity in general, like walking or, doing a few planks or doing 20 minutes of yoga or doing 30 minutes of Pilates. I don't think there's one person on the planet that would say that's not helpful. So that being said, we all already know this, but now it's the actual implementation of it. And I think that on a serious level, if you want our educators to stay at that high level, if you want local and state government officials to stay at a high level here, especially when you throw in all the other aspects of life as it is today, where, bad nutrition is readily available and it's the cheaper option. Um, Physical activity is not uh, within most people's grasps, because the fast-paced life of having to be here and there and then in the classroom for 9 hours and doing this and paperwork after, it's very, like you and I were talking offline. It's easy for me to say, hey, teachers, every hour I want you to do 3 sets of 10 air squats at your chair, and I want you to do 3 30-second planks with it, right? It's easy for me to say that, but by the time that teacher gets to midday and they're already so stressed out, they're not, it's hard to make yourself say, hey, let me pause here and do this on my own, right? There's got to be someone there that makes sure that this is happening, that they're allowed to do this, or that they have a life that's set up to where they can do that. Because at the end of the day, the people who are going to be mentally strong 100 years from now are going to be the people that physical activity is a daily piece of their life, so
What again, what I hear you saying is we've got to have systems in place to support this being embedded within our culture, prioritizing physical fitness, holistic mental wellness, um, good nutrition, and making it accessible and palatable, right? So I love the fact that you advocate for our teachers because they are doing a bang up job right now, an
That's
absolute
right.
bang up job.
They are.
They're and they're spread so thin, right? And they're having to turn on a dime and make adjustments. And for our systems and for our communities to say, we want to show gratitude to you and prioritize your wellness because we know that it's not only going to be good for you, but it's also great for our communities. That's a powerful message. And you also alluded to, we might not always have the funds to do those things, but something South Carolina is very good at, and we want to promote, and especially here with a local fitness center like Dynamic Fitness is think about who you have in your communities. Think about who you have in your buildings, right? You've got a coach in your buildings. You have ROTC instructors. You may have some teachers in your building that are yoga instructors or CrossFit instructors and can bring that in, right? And having your leadership and those teams get together and say, how can we leverage what we have or what we can access and bring it to our educators, bring it to our teachers, and bring it to our kiddos. And that's a really powerful thing. And that is so much of what tier one is. And I appreciate, hearing you say something like that because it speaks to so much of what we're consistently trying to share with folks is that, you know, wellness is all the time, right? It's got to be everything. You've got to be physically moving every day. You've got to be thinking and testing yourself every day so that you get to be the best version of you. Um, and I know, I'm holding you with us today because I know that I love speaking with you, and I know our community is going to be so excited to hear what you have to say. And I really want us to kind of close up things today with asking a more personal question, if that's okay.
Yeah.
And I'm just curious, Dee, like, what would you want to share with our community, with our kids, with our educators about how physical fitness has really impacted your resilience and your mental wellness?
So coming out of the service and also being part of OIF and being a combat vet, um, a lot of us deal with uh, times of mental instability, especially when you're coming out of that, right? And I don't mean that in a bad way. Like I don't mean that we're crazy. I mean that like sometimes we just don't want to get out of bed that day, or we don't feel like we have the capacity to go be around other people all day long and operate at a high level. And one of the things that I think saved me was physical fitness. About 5 years ago, me and the psychologist that I see on a regular basis through the VA, she's a phenomenal person, and the VA is lucky to have her, Dr. Seymour. Shout out to her. But she came up with a protocol that is called the 80-20 rule. And since following that, and I know I'm only one example, but it's something that made sure that I didn't turn to, alcohol to cope or drugs to cope or even just the over-counter medications. I don't think there's anybody that says, like, oh, I really want that medicine. Like, and there's nothing wrong with it if I believe that if you have to use it to bridge a gap and to find that balance, like some of us need it. But the 80-20 rule that she came up with is basically 20% of my week has to be done doing physical activity and moving and things that I enjoy, like walking and hiking by the river and exercising in the gym, because that 20% makes my 80% of whenever I'm expected to lead and be an expert around my peers and for this company and for this community. It makes it to where during that 80%, I can give you 100. And so that's what we follow now. And, I see her weekly. We talk. We actually have to like write out, okay, what was part of your 20% of your physical activity this week? And so we actually hold me accountable, and I say, okay, I have these 6 hours or 8 hours of this week that are prioritized out for either exercise or some type of hike or yoga or Pilates or whatever it is that I'm going to do. And that type of stuff's easy to do at the house too. You can pull up yoga and Pilates videos at home, or most places. We even have one here for like an online virtual training program, that kind of thing. But following that 80-20 rule has made it to where I've been able to do away with all the medications that the VA initially had issued me through, my psychiatrist. And then it also, I can just feel the difference, the clarity, the focus, the motivation that I get from it. It's, you have to do it for yourself. If you haven't gotten up and done it in a long time, like I urge you and like I challenge you, that while people like Taylor and South Carolina Department of Mental Health and places that create legislation, and as they're figuring out how to get the resources to people, I urge them to like take it upon yourself. Start looking into that 80-20 rule to make sure that your body and your mind is taken care of, and so that when you are in front of that classroom, you can have the patience in front of your students, or if you're that leader or supervisor in that office, that you can have the patience and the rational thought processes, and make sure that you're being the best leader and person and human that you can be every single day. Because we're all going to battle with it. There's not one person out there, again, just like I talked about, that'll tell you that physical fitness of some sort is bad for the human mind. There's also, if people are being real with themselves, like everybody even watching this show or this recording right here, every kid out there, all you parents, all you teachers, everybody at some point has woken up and not felt their best that day. And that doesn't mean mental illness. That just means you're being a dang human. And so how do you optimize that in Derrick's point of view? Physical fitness. Invest in your physical well-being now, or you will pay for it on the back end. We as a community will pay for it on the back end. As legislation and as boards and directors that make up all of these laws that govern our school districts and our state and federal employees and things, as they begin to make up their curriculums, I urge them to take that serious, what I just said. If you don't invest in it on the front end, we'll all pay for it on the back end somehow.
Dee, thank you so much for sharing your story. Thank you so much for being there. I think that I would love to have folks, take a hold of your challenge, implement 80-20 in your classrooms, in your homes, right? Make sure that you're prioritizing yourself, and know that from an actual hero, it's okay to not be okay. It's okay to feel like you can't get out of bed sometimes, but that you have the power to be able to pull yourself up and literally exist within your body, within your muscle system. Just got to get up and get moving. Do something as simple as taking a walk, and so that you can be 100% for the individuals that you care about, for the students that you serve, for the teachers that you're trying to impress, and for your community members. Dee, thank you so much for giving us 100% today. You were phenomenal.
Ready, set, go.
There you go. And we look forward to hearing a little bit more about Ready, Set, Go. And before we leave today, and say a big bunch of gratitude to those of you that have tuned in and are watching our video, I want to say, please, if you enjoyed, or if you'd like to provide some feedback, we would love to hear your feedback for our Working Through It Wednesday. Simply use our QR code here down in the bottom of your screen. Provide us some feedback. If you would like to nominate or apply to be an individual who presents on Working Through It Wednesday, please navigate to our website at www.schoolbehavioralhealth.org/BASK. Moreover, if you've got phenomenal individuals in your community, such as my dear friend Derrick, and you would like to just shine a brilliant light on them so we can say thank you to them, please nominate them for Basking in the Spotlight. You got young folk in your classroom that are just absolutely awesome, doing wonderful things. We would love to share the youth and family voice as well through that platform. So thank you so much for being with us today, Dee.